apparently no one was as young and dumb as I was as a kid, flooding all of these basements. Okay. All right. I don't know why I do that. Like, take off the glasses, not used to having the glasses off, and then go to grab them. Like, oh, let me just adjust it because I can't really see. Anyway, hey everyone, my name is Carson Dettmann, your local West Michigan realtor, and in today's video, this is more of about a get to know me. So, if you want me to be a realtor and you want to see if we have any things in common, this is that type of video. I'm going to try to keep it as raw as possible so you guys get the full experience of what I'm like. You know, all I'm doing is recording this with a ring light and my phone and a little like $20 mic thing. So yeah, I had a list of questions made. I have not read them. I just printed them out and I was like, cool, I have this list. So only time will tell to see what these questions entail. All right, let's see here. Where did you grow up and what is your favorite thing about your hometown? I grew up on the western side of Michigan, so West Michigan. I was born in Saginaw, and I was adopted into a family who lived in West Michigan. And my favorite hometown would probably have to be Ada itself, mainly because that's where I grew up. I was very familiar with Ada. I went to school there, like K till the graduation, actually, like from first grade to even before first grade, all the way up to high school. I graduated Forest Hills Eastern. It's a high school that was relatively new at the time. I think the building wasn't even like by the time I got there like 30 years old or whatever, so it was a relatively new building. So I was very blessed with that. So yeah, I think my favorite childhood town would be Ada. Let's see. What is your earliest or funniest childhood memory? Ooh. Uh, my earliest childhood memory, the one that comes to mind is kind of a funny but not funny thing. I've been told stories about how I was as a kid, and some of these stories I have no recollection of, or English, no recollection of, but people tell me all the time of how I was as a kid. And apparently, I would take off the grates for the heating, and I would manage to get them off, and I would take Hot Wheels and drop them down and hear them race down the ducting, and that I don't remember. But something that I do remember is I remember flooding the basement. It's not very funny. At the like looking back at it now, it's seeing how dumb I was. It's funny, but I was told to clean the downstairs bathroom, and for whatever reason, that there's no good reason because I had a trash bag, but for whatever reason, I decided that the toilet is the mystery thing that you put stuff in it and it disappears forever. And uh, I put paper towel, Q-tips, basically everything that you should not put in a toilet. I did. I went to flush it. It didn't flush, and I flooded the whole basement. And thousands of dollars later, I still feel bad about it to this day because it was just one of those things. Like, really, what were you thinking? I'm like, I genuinely don't know. Like, I don't know why I did what I did. Like the whole young and dumb. That is like the young and dumb, and I've definitely costed my dad a lot of money when it came to fixing things because apparently that wasn't the last time, or not the last time, but it wasn't the first time I flooded a house. And it was the second time. And the first time I apparently managed to plug the upstairs sink, and I just left the water on and walked away. I have no recollection of me doing that, but apparently that is something I did. So, you know, I find it, like, looking back at it now, I'm embarrassed, and I am sorrowful, and you know my dad having to spend all of that money to fix all of that stuff, like thousands upon thousands of dollars. Like, I haven't heard anyone remotely have these types of stories, and now I can only apologize, because apparently no one was as young and dumb as I was as a kid flooding all of these basements. Let's see what else we got on this page. What hobbies or interests? What are your hobbies or interests outside of your real estate career? Um, I I like the water. Um, like, I like boats, speedboats in particular. I like tubing, and I've had the benefit in my family of being or having access to water. I mean, there's Lake Michigan, and there are other lakes are in Michigan that we've had the wonderful time being on. Bill's Lake, my grandparents used to live on that, and we loved that lake. And now another lake that springs to mind is Lincoln Lake, creating new memories there. And um, I like cars. It's in my name. Anytime someone asks me how do you spell my name, I just think cars on. That is it. The car is on. Very dumb, I know, but for me, kind of funny. Um, what else? Uh, oh yeah. So boats, cars, or really anything to do with water, kind of. I don't like fishing because I suck at it. Um, and everyone's like, "Oh, everyone says I suck at fishing." No, no. The reason why I don't fish, and it's haunted me to this day. I went on a fishing trip with my family, and it was a fishing trip down in Florida. I don't know how many hours we went out there, but we were out there for hours, and I did not catch anything. And every single person in my family caught something, and I was livid because if people are catching multiple of something, I'm like, okay, I'm not even 5 feet away from you, and how are you guys catching stuff? And I'm not. So fishing off the table, mainly because I just feel like I am not qualified to be a fisher because I just can't catch anything for whatever reason. Anytime I go out, I just can't catch anything, and I just accept the fact that I can't. I like games. If you can tell by the setup back here and my wonderful gamer drink. Yeah, I love games. I've been gaming forever. Me and my sisters used to play DS and Mario Party and stuff like that together. Buzz, a classic game. If you don't know what Buzz is, it's okay. But it was a very fun game, especially to play with my family because we just had a ton of fun moments. There's a very looking back on it now, it's a very stupid game, but for us it was hilarious. It was like Buzz Monkey something. Like it was a monkey game, and it was a 4 player game. But you know, it for us it was a blast. And Mario Kart, we were very much Nintendo kids and Sony kids. PS2. I remember we had a PS1. I'd never played the PS1, but I know we had one because it was in a drawer. And I was like, cool, that's whatever this big block is. And we just never played it. If you haven't played Wii, come on. Everyone has a Wii or had a Wii at some point. Wii Sports, a lot of the Wii games we played a lot. Um, like cars, boats, gaming, traveling. When I've had the opportunity, and I've had an amazing opportunity because of the friends that I've made online to travel to various parts of the world. I've gone to the UK, I've gone to Sweden, I've gone to Canada, and we're planning another trip eventually somewhere. Wherever that is, I have no idea, but I've had the wonderful opportunity with friends to travel across the world, and I still think that, if you can leave the country just to see other countries, at least try. I always think of it as a learning experience. Like, if you think it's bad in the United States and then you go to another country and it's like, the US doesn't seem as bad anymore. Like, it's that type of thing. And it makes me more thankful than anything. Uh, Example, I'll use the UK trip as a prime example. One thing I will happily take from there is their culture around soccer. I like soccer and the Premier League, and my favorite team is Everton, however bad they do. Uh, and we went to see a game, and it was a blast. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity for me, especially at the stadium because they were leaving that stadium. But the culture around it was huge, and like something that amazed me, which my friends were telling me when I was there, was the lack of game coverage that they get when they have their games. And I was so dumbfounded. I was like, wait, you guys can't watch your team play in England on TV right now? Like, the game's on right now and you cannot watch it? Like, for me, that was amazing. And the prices to watch something over there was astronomical. The streaming services was astronomical, and I couldn't believe it. I was so dumbfounded. I was like, "Oh, we have a thing called Peacock here, and you can watch like at least half the games." And they're like, "How much is that?" And I was like, "I don't know, like $8 a month." And they're like, "What? In order to get this to even see half the games, it's like," they use pounds, but it was like over 150 pounds, which is like over $200. I was like, that's ridiculous. So it's something to keep in mind. But yeah, I like to travel, and anytime I get the opportunity to, I'll happily travel because, it's a learning experience. I hate flying though, which is hilarious because I genuinely don't know what it is. Like, I'll get to the airport, I know what I need to do, and for whatever reason, I'm like sweating. Like, I'm sweating. I think it's just the fear and anxiety of flying, and like, most of the time I fly alone, which for me sucks. Um, Mainly because I'm like, I would like someone to bounce off of. And I remember distinctively when I was flying once. I was flying to Sweden, and there was an old guy sitting to the right of me, cool as a cucumber. I had like a little at the time when it worked. I had a little watch here that would give like the beats per minute, and my heart was just going like, "Meow." And I look over at him, and dude's just like sitting in his chair, relaxing. And I was so envious. I was like, why can't I be like that? Like, it shouldn't be this difficult. And the white knuckling it as it's taking off, and trying not to care, but like deep down, I'm like really caring. I'm like, please land. Uh, yeah, I think I may have gone a little too far on that one, but Why did you decide to become a realtor, and what's the most rewarding aspect of your job? I became a realtor at the start because I wanted to find something different that was a little different than a 9 to 5 job and something a little more honest. I used to work as a automotive detailer for Enterprise, and their the way they handle situations and the way they lie to people, and like it for me, I didn't want to be a part of that under any circumstances. Anytime I could be honest with the customer about what things they're going to face, like anytime I went to pick someone up, I'd be like, hey, this is what's going to happen. I just want you to be more aware of it now, like, and you're hearing it from me that this is going to happen. Check with your insurance, check with everything to make sure the enterprise is actually doing what they say they're going to do, and they're not charging you an arm and a leg for something that they shouldn't. And they would lie to people's faces all the time, and I can't stand that. And so I wanted a little more honest profession because, like, I don't like to lie to people. So yeah. um so the most rewarding aspect of this job is providing clarity and helping people on their one of their biggest transactions that they'll ever make in their life. Like, providing that clarity and, like, being a guiding light to people who need help, whether any types of questions that they have. Like, I'm more than happy to answer these types of questions and about real estate or really anything. Like, if someone needs guidance about anything, I'll happily lend a voice. And I think the most rewarding job is, like, once everything's at closing and you see the smiles on people's faces, and knowing that you did a good job to get them to this point, and they get the keys at closing and they can go straight to that house knowing that it is now theirs. And so knowing that I did my job correctly and that resulted in people getting what they wanted, for me, is a blessing. Like, for me, it just is. Like, I wanted to find a way to help people, and I think I may have found my calling. So here's to many more. Let's see here about this list of questions. Uh, what's the funniest or most memorable thing that has happened to you during a showing or an open house? This memory reigns and will stick with me forever until I die, I'm pretty sure. But it was at an open house. I left for the open house like 10 a.m. to be there by 11, set up for 12, and then get out there. English. And the open house at 1:30. And all of that went well. I did a little recording. It was all the way out in Muskegon, so it was like over an hour away from me. And uh, I lost the keys to the house. They only had one key. I lost the key to the house, and I called a lockpick. It was on a Sunday. I called a lockpicker, and they were like, "Yeah, we can't make you a new key, but we can get you new locks and have new keys for that." And I was like, "No, I just want a new key." Because, like, you've seen videos of people, like, making keys or picking the lock and then making a key from what information they get. And I tried that, and I tried calling people who would do that, and this guy was like, "Yeah, $100 to pick a lock," and I was like, "Whatever. If you can make a key out of it, cool. If you can't, I'm out $100. It's gonna suck." First guy came out, took a look, and was gonna quote me like $750 or whatever, and I was like, "No." Second guy is like, "I'll do $100 to pick a lock," and I was like, "Okay, we'll try to pick one and then see what we think out of there." I I don't question people often about what they do in their profession, but I definitely question that guy because you see people do it online all the time, and it's like, come on, it doesn't, like, he said he was doing it for 9 years, and I looked and I was like, really? Because he was just going to town on that thing. And I was like, I thought lockpicking was very intricate. It was a very intricate process, like ping, ping, and but for him, he was going to town on that, like basically breaking the lock. And then what he couldn't do it, and then paid him $100, and then he left. Quoted me like over $1,000 to replace all the door handles, or yeah, all the door locks. And I stayed there. Like, so the first guy came back around, and he felt terribly bad for me because I've been out there for 6-7 hours already, and so he replaces all the locks, and my phone's like on the verge of dying for all of this. So I'm like sitting in the car, like begging for it to be over because the day was tragic. And I uttered the wonderful phrase that no one in their right mind, ever they're having a bad day, should utter: what else can go wrong? Go, life lesson right there. Never say that. Because on my way home, so I didn't leave there until 10 p.m. And so I had from there, I had an hour drive home. About 40 minutes into this, no, about 20 minutes into this drive. And there's a very hilly road, and I was going about 40 in a 55, and I had these two guys. There's two cars that were just like right behind my bumper. They were just right there, and I was like, "Come on! Like, it's foggy. Why are you right on my bumper?" And as soon as I crested the hill and I looked down the hill, there was a deer in the middle of the road. And so I was like, if I hit my brakes, they're going to hit me. So I pulled in the oncoming lane. Luckily, there was no one coming in the oncoming lane. I hit the brakes, and these guys just go flying past this deer. And it spooked the deer. And then as they flew past the deer turned right in front of my car. And I was like, oh my God, this is not happening. And so I hit the deer. Was not really fast, so there wasn't really any damage. It just popped out a silver piece in the front of my car. And I pulled off to the side of the road, tried to find it. I spent like maybe 2 minutes trying to find it, and I was like, I just need to get home. So the entire way home, driving like 30, because I do not want to have another experience like that. Jeez, I do not want to have another experience like that again. So, yeah, that was definitely memorable and a life lesson that I will, try to be a little bit more optimistic instead of saying what else could go wrong. What is the best advice I've ever received, and how has it impacted me? The best life advice I ever received was from a teacher in middle school or high school, like either 8th grade, well, it's 8th or 9th grade. And the teacher, it was a history teacher, and at the start of every class, he would say, like, all right, turn to your right. All right, everyone would turn to the right. It's like, all right, and say to that person, you're precious and irreplaceable. Now, not a lot of people understood why he started off the class like this, and he eventually did explain that, you never know who needs to hear it. He used to work in mental health hospitals and whatnot, and he's like, you never know how much someone needs to hear that they're precious and irreplaceable. So ever since then, I started to use the phrase, and I've gotten a lot of compliments, and the way people smile, and just like that feel good factor. Like, when you say something and you see that a person feel good, and like just saying that, and yeah, I started saying it a lot more recently, and just the reactions I've gotten have been more than well worth it because, you know, sometimes that's all someone needs to hear. Letting someone know that they care. Like, hey, I just want you to know you're precious and irreplaceable. Like, you know, and hopefully, if one of you guys hear this and you start saying it too, start saying it to people around you because, again, you never know what's going on inside someone's mind. So I always say it's best to say it than not because who knows, you might regret it. What is one unusual? Maybe I've answered that. Probably did. Oh, what is your go-to music playlist or favorite artist? I like EDM. Um, some music genres I understand, but others I don't. And I just find EDM, at least for me, I like EDM. Um, I don't really have a particular, like a big fan of an artist in particular. It really ranges. Like if I like the song, I like the song. And it's mostly because I find EDM songs a little easier to dance with. And I like dancing. So, uh, you know, yeah. If I can find an EDM song that I can dance to and just vibe with and, not be a depressing song because, uh, I don't like listening to depressing music. It makes me feel sad. So, uh, a lighthearted EDM song uh, is pretty much my perfect thing. So, um, and I think that's everything. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below, or if you have any more questions that you would like to ask me, get to know me a little bit more. Um, Uh, I don't think I said my age. I'm again Carson Dettmann, a realtor with Keller Williams, Grand Rapids East. I am 24 years old, and what else? I think that's everything. uh, yeah, yeah. All right. Thanks for watching.